Hey guys, checking in on IBB and now look at this chart. I mean, this is pretty amazing here, and I want to show you a couple pivot lines that I'm looking at and why I'm looking at them. We can get rid of the MACD down here. Um, so we've already crossed over this area that we've tested so many different times, and there's two channels I'm looking at from a longer term charting perspective here. I should make a drinking game out of every time I say perspective. So we had to push above this longer term channel top, and then we failed and broke down through it. And then once we came back up and retested it, I'm kind of using that as my line and where this bull run started on IBB. I like to look at failures from breakouts, breakdowns, and then where they return and then bust back up through them again. I guess there's two different lines we could look at. We could actually look at the top of this line, but I'm kind of looking at where we attempted to regain from the failure and then finally broke through. So I'm going to use this pivot line here, and if we run it kind of along this lower drop off, it kind of put us right along in these areas. And there's two different lines that I was looking at because we've had so much volatility in here. I wanted to see if we can catch, but it doesn't really matter because what's more important is where we're heading on the upside. We already know where the downside was, but these are kind of the two channels that I was looking at, just in case we do get some type of breakdown here, which I do not foresee at all, but just put that anyway. So here's your top lines now. We know that the original target was 312, and we went right through there. I mean, just incredible move in the bios here. Incredible move. And the reason I did a 312 was, and I'll show you. Well, I'm not going to show you, but just for time's sake, it was more on a 1 year chart. You understand? We're looking at a 10-year weekly here now, and I put a little time into this one too. Your next channel, and we're always looking for common areas, and I'm using a lot of common areas in here, would be right around 324 before you have another pivot drop off. And we can kind of, get this a little more concise and narrow it down, but you're already above. We knew that 300 wasn't going to last. We said if we pushed up against it, we're going to blow right through it. 312 was an area to maybe get out of a little sell gene, which would have, you would have sold a little bit early, but hindsight's 2020. It's easy to say that. How many times have we not done that on a trade and watched our profits evaporate? I always want to keep a little bit of both the AbbVie and the sell gene, no matter what you do. I mean, I don't even want to think how much money I would have had, but right now, but I did a swing trade in sell gene, and I had to stop too tight, and we've had a 20-point move since then almost. So certainly having some in my investment portfolio has helped out. AbbVie as well. I haven't traded either one of them, but I did have some trades in IBB and have been selling out. I think I have like 98 shares of this left. In any case, I'm looking for 324 at this point. And man, this sector is on fire. We can even start looking at some of the micros. I mean, we did our ARRY. I mentioned on StockTwits that thing's blowing up. I mean, we did an ACAD that might not be done yet. That had a nice, we talked about the short squeeze, and we're up like 10%. If you guys held that, you could have sold into any part of the move today, and you would have been up at least 6-7%. I just bought a little that SCMP, has some weird spreads on it, so I almost have to make an appointment to sell it. I like to get out of things. If I want to get out, I want to get out, and I usually do a market sell, but I don't want to give up. I have 1,000 shares of that. If I do a market sell, I just hand over $50. But anyway, SCMP, I'm looking for that to maybe catch on fire. SRPT, let's look at that. Sarepta. I mean, let's just start digging down to the junk and see if we can't catch some of this trash on fire in these microbios. This sector is on fire, man. This is like a big move here. Look at this 3-year weekly. Big old breakout there. I mean, right from the apex on the pivot. It's huge. Look at that volume bar. I mean, hey, if we replicate this one, we're in the 320s right there. Look at that bar. These are weeklies. Look, some guys on CNBC said this was short covering. I look at all the top 10 percentage companies that make up the portfolio of the IBB, and I can tell you right now, this is more than short covering going on here. There's a lot of stuff lining up here in the IBB. Last night, we had to move up to 307. and then we faded and closed at 303. And I did mention in the morning email that I just thought it was profit taking. I thought there was more to go in this, and to strap on and hold on here. This could be a massive move here. With if you think about where the technology stocks have moved and some of the other sectors that kind of look a little overbought, the FANG stocks. What if that money starts coming out and goes into bio? I mean, we got to jump on this stuff. Any pullback here, and we're certainly getting a little overbought in the short term here, but any pullback here, in my opinion, should be bought. We can narrow down the price points later, but we know 312 and we know 302 are sticking out like a monster here, but 304 actually, 304, 312. Those are going to be your pullback points that you got to go gangbusters here. This type of move is not easily reversed. If Trump were to come out with something negative on the sector, I bet you'd have it drop, and then I'm telling you, it would rebound. That was our original thought, that if it did drop, we wanted to go long. We wanted to be long regardless. We thought this was going to break with a lot of energy, and we thought it would break high. Did I expect this move to happen so quickly? No, I actually expected Trump to come out with something and we'd sell off and then reverse, and that would have been a beautiful trade. But in any case, let's see if we can't figure out on a shorter term basis, looking at the charts, what we can look at on some of these other smaller issues and smaller companies in the bio. So let's take a really quick look at Sarepta Therapeutics, and we can start putting in moving averages and all that stuff like that. But the one thing I do like about this is the long-term channel. I also like the perception that this type of a company would obviously have a very expensive drug and would have been heavily restricted by any type of pricing constrictions and the new administration. I do like this little, gradual ascending channel. Once again, it almost looks like USO and IBB prior to the big move. And we can kind of narrow this down, like I said, with some with some moving averages. But if this is your pivot drop off here, and this is your parallel line, at least we're back up above that area, and you can see how it topped out in here, and we kind of did a little bit of a wiggle back and forth here, pushed through, came back up, pushed through, and then that's the same price point that we failed at. We hit the bottom and back up and retested that line. We can even move that down a little bit to catch that. And now we just closed above it. So it's interesting. We're coming into these tails, or these wicks here. We might get into this wick a little bit. In fact, we probably are. Yeah, we're into that wick, just a hair into that candle. And we're into this one here as well. So let's keep an eye on Sarepta. Nice move today. I didn't catch it. I was in some other bios. And let's check the moving averages on it really quick. Let's just zip through it. Love the MACD here. Nice expansion. Good separation. Breaking above a couple areas that we failed at. Nice to see that. Number one. So we do have the 480 MA cross on the short term. Every time we've had that 480 MA cross, we've had a little bit of a move to the upside. I kind of feel like there are some stranded players up in the 36 area. Inside this candle, we've had the big down move. Are we a little late to this party? Possibly. Just from close to close, descending top line, close candle. We just broke through that pivot. At least there's that. Can we overcome these downdraft candles, reversals where guys got stranded if they were buying into this big move? It's hard to say. There's definitely some resistance coming in here, the 36. So is there better plays in this? Maybe. But I know this is a really liked stock in the biotech sector. And, this is a tough call. This one can get moving here. Let's just keep an eye on it for sure. All right, remember we got ARRY. We got Acadia, which is probably seeing a little bit of a top in the short term. ACAD, that's the one we traded. SCMP probably still has some legs, but I don't want to chase it. Sam, Charlie, Michael, Papa. I'm going to show you some ETFs that really nobody knows about in the biotechs that can kind of give us a little upper hand. And let's dig for a little trash here. How about Celdex, CLDX? I had this thing forever in my trash to cash portfolio, and I sold most of it in a spike. I keep like 100 shares of these just so I don't forget about them in another portfolio. If this was the old descending channel and we broke it, well, we kind of fixed it today. And this is your medium channel or intermediate channel. I don't know, we're getting really close to that. would our top channel kind of run along this pivot in here and go to these common areas? So could we take a sell dex in here and you know, with an easy, simple stop and get maybe up close to $3, 290, you know, in this time frame here? I think the bios are on fire here. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with buying some sell decks and putting a stop on the close at, I don't know, 237, looking for $3 maybe. I mean, 237, look for 294. You got 40 cents to the upside and what, less than 20 cents to the downside, 2-to-1 ratio. So I'm just throwing ideas out here. This junk is going to start flying. It's possible. I'm not really recommending this, but I want to point out the possibilities, and I'll probably be doing some, but buyer beware for sure. Okay, I'm going to zip through some of these. So how about this for a clinical trial biotech fund that has no volume until recently? I mean, what did this is 24,000 shares traded today. This is ridiculous, but like I said, some of these could just light up. We don't know. I mean, these are long baselines, and we're breaking out of these. You know, you're just peeking out of a high here. You know, where could this go? If we look on a channel, could it go a couple more points to the upside? I hate drawing these traditional channels, but I mean, we probably have a little wiggle room in here. It's not my best work, but heck, we could get up to the pivot on this. You know, somewhere in the 27 area. So, you know, nice volume here. Once again, this is a 5-year weekly. If you want to look on a 1 year and get this a little bit tighter, same thing. 3 strong volume bars in a row. They're not expanding volume; they're declining volume. But right up to the downdraft, coming into higher volume. I mean, do we pull back and then blow through the 24 and change on the top side? We definitely could. Doesn't really give me a lot of indication on where we're going here looking at a 1 year, but like I said, you look at the 5-year. Interesting ETF, you know, and we know our downside for sure. Probably right around 22, and if you want to be safe, you can go to the midline area and put your stop on the bottom of that candle, 22.20. So you got 2 points to the downside. How many points to the upside? We have no idea. How about an immunotherapy ETF on the 5-year, breaking from a pivot on high volume, expanding? Who knows where this could go? Once again, let's just try to keep it simple here because these are weeklies. Let's not get carried away, but I don't know. I'm kind of figuring in here. Pulled that down a little bit too far, up a little bit too far. Stop on here would probably be around 22.05. Where can this go? I have no idea. That's a 5-year weekly. This one's got some room on it, it looks like. Not the most bullish looking chart, but you know, you have some decent companies in here. You know, ADAP, you have Kite, ALCLS, Newlink Genetics. Interesting ETF. Not a lot of people follow these. You know, look at the volume on them. This is kind of stuff we want to get in before everybody else does. So I was away from the video for an hour or so here. So, I mean, I just throw out some ideas there. Obviously, there's going to be more probably in the morning if I find them. I got a doctor's appointment at 8:30, so I'm probably not going to be trading until maybe 10 o'clock. I'll miss the opening bell. But and then here's a real quick look at our SCMP. There's kind of a little bit of a fundamental story to this company, at least. And I do like the little move here above the descending line. And this looks like 1078s in the short term. Like, I didn't want to chase it here. A couple people asked me about it today. I kind of like that little break on the wedge there. I mean, it looks nice, but I mean, if we pull back from a different angle, is there like a lot of room in this one? I don't know. I mean, we're kind of busting through a couple areas that are interesting, but I mean, is it possible we topped out today? I guess. It's hard to say. If we push through there, do we hit that 1078? Do we have more to go? Can we get into the 11s? Maybe. You know, we're up a little bit in after hours, but you know, these are ones that you probably looked at when I gave, you know, the buy order, and this was like $9.75, and you're probably like, oh, this isn't even moving. What's Henry talking about? And Acadia was like, I don't know, 27, and change, and they weren't doing anything, and then they just blew up. So just some ideas, guys, and you get the point. Do your own research. Start looking for those junky, bios, the small micro cap bios are probably going to start getting lit up here pretty good. And I think that's an area we need to focus on because it's going to be kind of immune from any market pullback if it's not significant from simple profit taking as we kind of go through these waves with this gradual, long-term bull market that we still are in from my perspective. My price targets that I have on SPY. So let's play it that way. Let's try to be a little safe here. Celgene, boy, I don't know. I'm almost tempted to get a little bit out of the investment portfolio, but it's hard to sell that one. So if I come up with something in the morning, guys, I'll definitely follow up. Hope you guys enjoyed this and give you a few little ideas here and there. And I hope I didn't skip around too bad because there was some lag in between the time that I stopped and paused the video a few times to take care of some stuff. So I hope everybody has a good night, and I'll see if I can get this out tonight. If not, I'll be in early in the morning.